off here after work. I missed today. That's because I drove and said hi to the squares. We hung out for a bit. Got a box of stuff in the car. And I've got, tonight for the drive home, some Pocari Sweat. Good stuff here. Tonight I don't have a topic in the top of my head. Maybe we'll think of that on the drive home. So once again, if you have topics you think you want to hear from me about, like questions or topics or my thoughts on something, throw it down below in the comments. Or you can hit me up over on Twitter at TheProfosist. Should be linked down below in the description as well. For now, we're going to throw this thing into sport mode and head out of town. There may be some cuts in the video today. Sometimes you might see that. For some of those longer ones, unless I make a long pause or something, that's just straight end to end. I don't, like I said, didn't really have a topic for tonight, so I don't really have like a brain dump to bring up. I am kind of tired tonight. The electrolytes in the Pocari Sweat isn't helping already. I can tell it. Water is good. That's one thing. But if you guys notice that after just drinking just water, you're still thirsty, probably need the electrolyte. That's what that is. And get yourself a Gatorade, Pocari Sweat, one of my favorites. Realistically, I mean, so even some of those flavored waters, flavored sparkling waters can help. Realistically, even a soda can. Not really recommended if you're truly like parched. Also, this is really good because this is just chilled. It's been in my lunch bag all day. That has ice packs in there, but I mean, like, it's been there for 8 hours, so it's at this point just chilled. Which is, if you're thirsty, that's by far. Some people technically, I think it's supposed to be like room temp or like body temp. That's like warm. I have trouble drinking warm liquid. And I don't like hot liquids generally. But yeah. Yeah, if you're like super thirsty, and you drink, like, say you fill up your water bottle, drink the whole water bottle, and you're like, I'm still fucking thirsty. Maybe get one of those little packets you put in there, or get some sort of sports drink. That'll actually help you a lot. Also, if you're having a headache, a lot of times, like, I drink a Coke. Sometimes you need the caffeine because that's withdrawal. Sometimes, like, the sugar helps, except I drink Coke Zero, so that's not really there. Sometimes this can help as well, not just Pocari Sweat, but like a Gatorade or whatever. On that note, besides being Pocari Sweat being the best, let me know, like, what your favorite flavors are, like Gatorade. Personally, I would argue best 3. We can go best 4. But best 3 are definitely Original Orange and Riptide Rush. Now, Riptide Rush is very hard to find over the past couple years. So number 4 we'll put Glacier Freeze. Both of those are frost. You can probably tell from what era I'm from if I'm liking frost. When they first came out in the 90s. Gotta slow down after you get off the freeway onto the highway. You're gonna do some brights here because you got them deers. So let me know down below though in the comments, or you can hit me up on Twitter as well. What your favorite Gatorade flavors are? Oh, we just dropped to 37. I told you we were going to drop the temperature, and that's Fahrenheit, not Celsius, for those of you in other regions. Oh, we're gonna need some fuel on the way home as well. Should be able to make it back though. So, what was I doing today? A lot of just scripted fixing of things. Nothing crazy there. Oh, here's something interesting. Um, there are vulnerabilities, so like like issues that could let people take advantage of it, like exploits potentially in Windows Defender definition. And you're like, why is that an issue? I don't use Windows Defender. Or why is it an issue? Just update them. Well, that's kind of the issue. Is if you're using a third-party antivirus, by default, Windows Defender gets disabled, and when it's disabled, it doesn't update. You can still enable that if you want. Like you can enable Defender to be running while your other antivirus is running. But by default, Windows 10 now and newer disable Windows Defender, or at least like the main parts of it, when you run your own antivirus. And then obviously when it's off, it can't update. So there are actually vulnerable versions of definitions. So that would be like the list of bad things. There's vulnerable versions of that. Which is kind of funny that an antivirus has vulnerabilities. So fix there, if you're running your own antivirus, by the way, is just delete the file that has the definition. Problem solved. If you do uninstall the third-party antivirus, Windows Defender gets re-enabled, it'll re-download the definition. Problem solved. If you're using Windows Defender yourself, run an update. It should be coming through Windows Update already. But I just thought it's kind of funny that like your antivirus can also have vulnerabilities. And actually, it's just the definition. So like the list of bad things can be vulnerable. Kind of interesting. Other topic I guess you could go off of is less general, but if you've seen my video on the new tactile turn slim side click. My gosh, I can't speak tonight apparently. The one I have is the Trailhead. That's the new seasonal release from Tactile Turn. They're having issues with the slim side click. Like I said, should have sent it to me to test it. Not just them, but I say that to just about everybody. I could have found that. My clip has broken off twice since I got it. Apparently it's been a big enough issue. They actually have a blog post up on their website. And if you contact them, you'll get a replacement. I don't know how quickly, because obviously they didn't plan for having this issue. But we got to slow down for the little town here. So, I mean, it shows good company that when something like that happens, that they take care of it that way. So, in my case, the first time the clip fell off was I was pulling it out of my pocket. I pull it out of my pocket, clips in my hand. Then the other day I go to work, I want to go to put the pen in my pocket in my pants, and the clip just fucks off into the corner of the room. And of course, King tries to go and get it. So, got to prevent him from getting it, and then go find it and screw myself. And that's when I emailed them, and they sent me the blog post about that. I have no problems with the clicking, like the clicking and unclicking. Squares, however, who doesn't have the special edition, he just has the standard titanium version. Is like a hair trigger if it works. So, I mean, there can always be issues with any of that stuff. I really do think I am very good at testing a lot of this. Like, if it's something I truly do use, I will use it, and I'll probably break it. I'm not out to break it, but because I truly do use things. Like, you give me a pen and I run it for a week or two, I will use it. Same thing with a mouse. Whether I use it gaming or I use it desktop, it's getting 8+ hours of use a day. Same thing with a keyboard. Um, Keyboards are actually harder. I've tried to switch to that one retro one, but I don't have the right wrist rest for it, and I'm just so used to my happy active keyboard setup that I like literally lose productivity at work. So I had to stop. Mice, not so much. There's a lot of shapes I like. Right now I'm running the Ninjutsu Katana, which I did have to get replaced, just to make sure the new one was good because my whole desktop is actually down now in preparation for the new one being built. And I've run for about 2 weeks straight with 0 issues. The previous one would have this issue that other people have actually documented on the internet where the cursor would just randomly vertically or would jump all the way up to, jump up or down, and just suddenly, you just be moving and go bam, bam, one direction. You say if you're playing a game, you just be looking at the sky. Not cool. Contacted them, they had me try a couple things, and they ended up replacing it. So, decent customer support there. I also reached out about the mouse feet. They tend to bow out, making them much not as smooth. You gotta press them down all the time. At least I do. Reaching out to them though, that's apparently how all the mice feet fit that mouse. Even by third-party ones, the same thing will happen. I haven't removed a main foot yet, so I have yet to check why that might be. I wouldn't want to use super glue because if you do need to replace the mouse feet, that would make it very hard to do. So I may just keep the habit of pushing the mouse foot down because I really, really like that mouse. It is super duper light, crazy, crazy stupid light, especially for the size. It's built on the IntelliMouse optical, which has to be top 3 mouse shapes ever. I think they go a little bit overboard. It doesn't even have a USB-C or a micro B charger. You have to use this fancy magnetic USB or charge cable that's proprietary, or at least proprietary-ish. I personally would like to see one that is USB-C charging, or even a single AAA, and a place to put the receiver in the mouse, and ideally Bluetooth. I want it more of a productivity mouse. So I just love that shape. I will say though, this is one of the first mice I've had in a long, long, long time where I'm considering buying another one. Only reason why I haven't had one at work is because it's not Bluetooth. And if I need Bluetooth for work, I don't want to have that stupid dongle at my computer. I have for a week. It's kind of fine being there, but I do like the usefulness of Bluetooth. You just turn it on and it's going. You know what I mean? The Happy Hacking keyboard is also on Bluetooth. Both, it can be wired. The Rival 3 I normally use, Rival 3 wireless, can be Bluetooth or wireless USB dongle. Man, oh man, do I like that. The weight, and I like the IntelliMouse optical shape. So that thing's near perfection now that cursor thing is fixed. But it's just one of the few things that I've had to contact for support lately. Here's another thing. Actually, my phone's in it right now, and that is my Rhino Shield case. I have a solid suit, I think. I forget what their bumper ones are called. I'd much rather be running a bumper. If you guys are wondering what a phone bumper is imagine a phone case without a back. And if you can't imagine that, it's more common, especially nowadays, on iPhone, even back in the day, because of that squared-off shape of the iPhone. I really have always liked that. And Rhino Shield has done it in the past on LG, Samsung, Google, obviously Apple. Realistically, nowadays for the bumper, they only make it for Apple, which is super annoying. So I really like having the bumper. It keeps the thinness of the phone. You can still feel the premium back, or if you want to put a skin on it, you can. Um, but it keeps the thinness of the phone, yet it puts the bumper on the side. I remember the first time I saw it was, I think like Austin Evans was testing it, and I think it's like rated for an 11 or 12 foot drop, and they dropped it about that or maybe higher a couple times, and like the phone's completely unscathed. Because if you think about it, the main part on a phone when you drop it that hits is the corners. So a bumper works great for that. It just goes around all the corners. Then you get the thinness of the phone. I just have always liked that. I ran that actually on my LG G4, back then. Um, G6, I did have one. I don't or think that was a Rhino Shield. I'm trying to think. My Samsung S7 had one. I had two different ones actually for the S7. My iPhone SE now has one. I might have shared pictures of that. But what's on the Pixel 6 now, and it was the Pixel 5, is the solid shield. That's their case. It's basically their bumper with a rubber band. In fact, some of the early iPhone ones literally just were the bumper and you snap on the back. I was like, why the fuck did you want to do that? But I don't have the option of the bumper on Google anymore ever since the Pixel 5. So on the Pixel 5 and 6, I've ordered custom cases. Like, you can literally submit your own artwork to be put on there. Now, you like have to have the right, you know. And I think they've all turned out very well so far. I did one for my Pixel 5, which Squares now has. Got Motoko on there. And then this time around, when I got the Pixel 6, and Preston got a Pixel 6, and then my mom, she got her S21 Ultra. For all of us, I did custom cases because it's available on every case now from them, essentially. And I noticed a bit of wear in my case, and where it was specifically, which is kind of annoying, was on the Rhino Shield name on the side, which is kind of like a grip texture, but it was getting like really sharp. Contacted them about that. Turns out they have a lifetime warranty. Yeah, I was, needless to say, quite happy and surprised. They charge $4 for a replacement, which I think is reasonable when you spend, I think it's like $30-40 if you get a custom case. I think it's like 20-30 range if you get a normal, like just straight bumper like it is on the iPhone SE. $4 for handling for that. And I just had to re-upload my picture. You do have to pay shipping, but that's normal for any RMA. Usually you wouldn't have to, like, you pay shipping to ship it in, and then they would pay the shipping back. In this case, they're just shipping you a new one. So $4 though, lifetime, like, heck yeah. I was super happy. I didn't even know they had that, just to be truthful. So if you guys need a good case, whether or not you get a custom one, or if you are interested in that bumper idea, really, that's my car again saying it's 37 degrees out. Anybody know why minis, and I think BMWs do them as well, where they're like, what is it about 37 degrees Fahrenheit? Or what's that in Celsius? Maybe that's more important in Celsius? Like, because that's not freezing. Like, even if it rained right now, we wouldn't have like ice building up on the roads or something. It's just like, ooh, it's cool out. That's more than half my year where I live. So if you have an idea on that and want to explain it, I would appreciate the 37%. But yeah, if you use a new phone case, like they even do, like it's kind of weird that they don't do the bumpers for like the Google phones anymore, because like you'd have to think they're, especially Samsung. Like my mom for a Note 8 had a bumper. She really liked it. She wanted one again this time, but for S21 Ultra, which is essentially the S21 Note version, there is no bumper anymore. And yeah, kind of bummer there. But yeah, if you need a nice, just normal case, or like I really like playing with the custom ones, and really for that, if you need help, I can do it. The best place would be our Discord. It should be linked down below. Otherwise, you can hit me up over on Twitter, and I can make sure you get a link to that. The reason why I say that is their editor is like really shit on the custom cases. like you kind of have to use Photoshop, or if you don't have Photoshop, you could use GIMP to like modify your photo to get it to go and look like you want to, especially if you just want one big photo. When I brought this up with them, it doesn't seem like it's a huge like market for them, but I think if you could like upload a photo and zoom in and zoom out and like place it where you want, like just move it around, which you can't do if you're wondering, like it just hunks it in the middle and you can make it smaller. That's it. And a lot of times smaller is not what you want. You want bigger to like fill up the amount of space. And then you want to move it up and down so it's like not cutting like Motoko's head off or something, or whatever character you're going with. Just be aware if it is a common art image, it will get caught. Like Preston is like, holy shit, it's like an image of fan art from the early 2000s, from Wind Waker, but it's like by now has proliferated the internet enough that they think it's like some like, oh, we can't use that. It pops up. It's definitely not that person, even though it's like fan art from like when Wind Waker was newish. You know what I mean? 10 plus years ago. I mean, like most places have the highest quality they'll have of the artwork is like 1024 by 768. Like, back when a 1 megapixel image was considered good quality sort of stuff. I mean, not good quality, but like 3 megapixels back then would have been like, holy crap! Like your webcam was 0.3 megapixels. For those wondering. So I like their products, always have. I think their cases, like I am fucking clumsy. You guys might have seen that before. I'm not like purposely clumsy. I don't try and misuse my phone. I just know I'm gonna drop it, and I always drop it in the most inopportune time. So, like think about it. You're going to take a poop in the bathroom, right? You're sitting on the toilet. You got tile in your bathroom, or some hard surface, right? You got your pajama pants. Put them down, and Pajama Pants' entire existence's life is to eject whatever in the pockets out of them anytime you sit down. So it just takes your phone and dumps it on the tile. That's stuff like that is what happens. Or it's like you go to grab your phone, you slip, and it shoots across on the floor. Or you're working on your car and you drop it. This is why I cannot believe people run caseless. And there's definitely people at work that you can see that they've run caseless. There's cracks in their back glass. You don't want that, guys. And almost all, even when I got the one time I like truly did crack my phone screen, which was on my LG G6, which I still have. Because I threw a screen, it's just a hairline crack, and I threw a screen protector on it right away. So it's been fine. And it was that thing was already getting old at that point. That's why I replaced it with Pixel 3. Just had to last me till the Pixel 3 came out, essentially. Like this is the only time I did it, and I actually didn't hit the front of the glass. That's like, oh, bumper won't protect the back of the phone or it hit the side. And in a way that the case that was on there wasn't enough to protect it. So I ordered up, like, this is while I was on vacation in Seattle and Portland. I think specifically Seattle, playing pool and drinking, what you gonna do? But that's the one time I cracked it, and that's the bumper even still would have protected that because of where it protects that edge. And that's where a lot of those cracks from, they're hairline cracks from the edge out. Very rarely is it straight on the thing, or the screen can actually take that hit a lot of the time, based on what I've seen from repairing iPhones. You got to pretty much mistreat the back glass too, because that's even a different type. You don't need to see through it, But the one big thing that I told the guy at work too, and he ended up switching to an iPhone. I'm sure he's trying to get chicks. Apparently, being on iMessage gets you chicks. Is that really the case? Like, is it impossible to get chicks with an an Android phone. He was like super static while getting a Pixel 6, and like as soon as the iPhone 14 came out, he jumped. I've been loving my Pixel 6 for the most part. I mean, I wish there was like a Pixel 5 with the camera from the Pixel 6. That would be my ultimate phone. Not even a 256. I want a 512 gig variant, but a smaller phone. I even settle for a 256. But yeah, if you crack that back glass though, which is why I liked what they did with the Pixel 5 with that rubberized metal backing, and it had like a cutout on it. Like that was way more sturdy. Probably easier to repair too. With a cracked back glass, you are reducing your water resistance because that's what's sealed back there. So if you crack your back glass, do not assume your phone is still waterproof. It ain't. Or it's far less water resistant. And water's weird. If you look at how it works, and I think in some news it's like polarity or it's surface tension, might be a combination of both. But if you watch water, once it attaches itself to like an edge, it'll just follow it down and drip in there. There are some oils that do this even more, like a penetrating fluid, or penetrating lube. Like it's purposely designed to do that. But water in general, like it's like a puddle, it just doesn't stay there. Sometimes it does, but it'll like pool out more, and it'll like get into all these little cracks, stuff like that. So we actually went past the turn I normally do, and have reduced our speed a bit. We're going to get gas. So otherwise I can't make it to work tomorrow. That's kind of importante. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed it. This little trip here, I gotta get off the highway and give you some gas. Luckily, because I live, I'm not gonna say in the middle of nowhere. There's more middle of nowhere stuff than where I live, but it's at least rural-ish, and that means there's farming, which means you can get fuel with no ethanol. And another nice thing is because it's especially rural, and there's a lot of farming around here, especially a lot of moo cows to make that cheese. I can get 89 no ethanol, which is the good stuff right there. I don't have to get 91 or 93 octane. Well, the pump is performing a security check. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. All right, guys. Well, we'll call it here. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. I didn't really have like something specific to talk about, like a brain dump like in some of the other ones. But yeah, if you have ideas for topics, throw them down below in the comments or hit me up over on Twitter @TheProfosist. And you guys have a good one as always.